and welcome back to City and County Credit Union's Money Lessons for Kids. I'm Lucy and I'm so excited that you're joining me today. We have a really fun story time activity in store for you. But before we jump into the fun, let's go ahead and grab all the supplies that you're going to need for today's activity. All that you're going to need is a pair of headphones, so go ahead and grab those and then come back and join me for our story time. Now, before we jump into today's story, I just want to remind you about the 3 things that you can do with your money. The first thing that you can do with your money is you can save it. And saving is when we put our money off to the side and we let it sit there in case we need it in the future. The next thing that we can do with our money is we can spend it. And that's when we spend our money on the things that we need or want right now. And the last thing that we can do with our money is we can share it. And that's when we give our money to maybe people in need in our community or community organizations that we care a lot about. And today's story is going to talk a lot about giving back to our community. And we're going to be reading The Berenstain Bears, Think of Those in Need by Stan and Jan Berenstain. The Bear family enjoyed the good things in life as much as anyone else. They enjoyed good food and good times. They enjoyed a snug treehouse and a comfortable chair before a crackling fire. They enjoyed books and music, toys and games, quilts and cuckoo clocks. But sometimes it seemed, especially to Mama, that perhaps the Bears were enjoying too much of a good thing. It was also clear to Mama, as she managed the treehouse, that they had a problem that came under the heading of too much stuff. Too much stuff in the closets, too much stuff in the drawers, too much stuff in the basement, too much stuff in the attic. There was too much stuff everywhere. It all made Mama a little uneasy, and it was beginning to be a worry. Papa thought there was a too much stuff problem too, but he was more annoyed than worried. Annoyed about a Fast Wheels car that Brother had left on the stairs, and annoyed about a squeaky duck that Sister had left in the bathtub. But there was much more on Mama's mind than Fast Wheels cars and squeaky ducks. What was beginning to worry her was that they had so much stuff while others had so little. And as sometimes happens with the worry, when you go to bed, it can turn into a nightmare. And that's what happened to Mama. One night she dreamed that all their stuff came to life and poured out of every drawer and closet and nook and cranny in the treehouse, chanting, "Too much stuff! Too much stuff!" "What's the matter?" asked Papa when Mama woke up screaming. "It was just a dream, my dear," Mama said. But though it was just a dream, she knew what she had to do. The next morning at breakfast, she made an announcement. "This family," she said firmly, "has altogether too much stuff. It's time to get rid of some of it." "Stuff," said Brother. "What sort of stuff?" "Stuff like dolls with no heads," said Mama, "and broken airplane models, old puzzles, games that nobody plays with, and fast wheel cars on the stairs," said Papa, "and squeaky ducks in the bathtub." "Now wait a minute," protested Sister. "That's all our stuff. What about some of your stuff?" "My stuff," said Papa. "Like what?" "Like your 17 fishing rods," said Brother, "and the zillions of old fishing magazines you have stacked up in the attic," said Sister. "But those are all valuable collectibles," said Papa. Mama groaned. "Look who's groaning," said Papa. "What about those shelves and shelves of old cookbooks you never look at, and those bits of yarn and cloth you're never going to use?" "All right," agreed Mama. "I guess we all have a lot of things we don't really need. That's just my point. What should we do with all of it?" The bear family thought for a moment. "Hey," said Brother, "let's have a yard sale and make a fortune." "Yeah, great idea," agreed Sister and Papa. But that was not what Mama had in mind. She had been thinking more and more about those folks who had so little, especially with the holidays coming on. But what could the bear family do? Mama already had a plan in mind. First, she had Papa and the cubs go through all their stuff and make 3 piles. In one pile were things like old board games and puzzles. In another, all their forgotten but still good toys and sporting goods. And in another, clothes and furniture, extra cookbooks, and unused fishing rods. When the bears piled everything into the car, there was hardly enough room left for them. "Where are we going?" asked Sister. "First stop," said Mama, "is the old bear's home." The old bear's home was where older bears went to live when they needed help taking care of themselves. Nurses and doctors looked after them and made sure they were in good health. But sometimes the older bears got a little lonely and bored, and they liked visitors and things to do. That was part of Mama's plan. When the family arrived at the old bear's home, they handed out their games and puzzles to the older bears and then sat down to play games and do puzzles with them. At first, Brother and Sister were a little shy and embarrassed. The older bears were just so old. But after a while, they got over it. The bears in the home weren't any older than their neighbor, Ms. McGriz, and she was okay. Soon they were having a fine time, and so were the older bears. They were all sorry when it was time to leave. Their next stop was the Beartown Young Cubs Hospital. Brother and Sister knew about the hospital. Brother had gone there to get his ankle x-rayed the time they thought it was broken, and Sister had come along to watch. The bears dropped off their load of used toys, and they were very welcome. The hospital workers said the toys would be given out at the hospital holiday party. On their way out, they saw a young bear in a wheelchair with his leg in a big cast. They were glad they had brought the toys because he looked as if he could use some cheering up. Their last stop was the Beartown Bears Who Care store. This was a store that sold things to raise money for needy bears who needed warm clothes and good food. The store was run by bears who wore uniforms and often played in a band in front of the store. The bears lugged all their old clothes and furniture and stuff into the store. On the way, they stopped to sing a few holiday songs with the band. There was a big iron pot out on the sidewalk for collecting money for the needy. Papa gave Sister $1 to put in it. They headed home with warm feelings about what they had done. As they drove along, they passed the lighted windows of the Beartown department store. They were beautifully decorated for the holidays. There was window after window of new toys and games, new things for the house, and the very latest things in fishing poles. But the members of the bear family were so filled with special thoughts about helping others that they hardly noticed the wonderful things in the windows. Except maybe out of the corner of their eyes. The end. Now this book talked a lot about giving back and helping those in need, and for today's at-home activity, I want you to do just that. I want you to think about people in your community or your loved ones that maybe need a little bit of help from you. So maybe this could look like a number of different things for giving back. So perhaps you decide to purchase a gift that would be donated to someone in need in your community. Maybe you decide to help those in your life by emptying the dishwasher, making your bed, or helping with other chores around the house. Or maybe you just decide to do a special act of kindness. So maybe you're at the grocery store and someone has bagfuls of groceries. Maybe you just hold the door open for them so that they can get out of the store a little bit easier. Whatever it is that you decide to do to give back or help, I want you to make sure that you take a picture of yourself doing it and then send it to us at social@cccu.com, and I'll link that email in the description box below. Thanks for joining me, everybody. I hope you have a great rest of 2021, and I will see you again in 2022. Bye!